𝑴𝒔𝒔 Advanced Global Study, 𝒔𝒔 Advanced Global Study.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name's Derek. First, I just want to say that this advice is general in nature because I'm speaking to a large group of people. So if you want specific advice to your circumstances, please contact us. And that migration laws do change, so whatever I say today might not be the case in the future. Okay, so firstly, I just want to compare skilled versus sponsored visas because they are the main type of work visas that you go through. Okay, so skilled visas are generally cheaper than sponsored visas. Okay, there's more places available and more permanent places available each year to skilled visas compared to sponsored visas, and I'll show you that in the next slide. Okay, with a skilled visa, you don't require an employer sponsor. Okay, with a sponsored visa, you know, your employer needs to lodge an application, meet requirements, pay fees, and you need to stay with them for a few years, usually before you then apply for permanent. Usually it's a longer process. Okay, and then you know, if something happens, let's say you know, your employer closes down or changes owners, okay, and then you need to find another sponsor. You need to start all over again. Okay, whereas with a skilled visa, once you get that visa, you can change employers. You can even change occupations. You know, you can start working in a different field. Okay, and in some circumstances, you can change to different areas. Okay, you can move from, let's say, Tasmania to, let's say, South Australia. Okay, so generally, if you can get a skilled visa, it will be better for you, generally. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with the places. So these are the places for the 2018 and 19 years, and the 2019 and 20 years. Okay, that those being you know, like July 2019 to June 2020. Okay, so in where's my mouse? Okay, so in 18 and 19, we had 28,850 places for state, territory, and regional sponsored visas and skilled regional. So that's basically the 190 visa and the 491 visa that we're talking about today. Okay, now here, this table is a bit different in format, but basically they've split it into two. So you've got the state and territory nominated, that's the 190 visa. You've got 24,900 places, so 25,000 places. And then you got the 491 visa, which is this one, skilled work regional, okay? And that's 25,000 places. So there's 50,000 places now for those two visas compared to basically the 29,000 that we had last year. Okay, so when immigration introduced the 491 visa last year, they changed the regional program. They gave it more places, okay? And they're trying to get people to move to regional areas because they think that capital cities are too congested and there's not enough people in the regional areas. And this is how they're trying to solve that problem. Okay, so there's different types of skilled visas, but they're all similar in some ways. Okay, they're all points based. Okay, so you get points for things like your age, your experience, your qualifications, you know, whether you have a partner or not, and you know, generally the higher your score, the stronger your application will be. Okay, it's invitation based. Okay, so not everybody is allowed to apply for a skilled visa. Okay, you need to express your interest in a particular region. Okay, and then if your points is strong and if your commitment to that state is strong, then you'll get invited to apply, and then you can apply. Okay, so it's a bit different to other visas. Okay, the regional skilled visas are tailored to state and regional needs. Okay, so each body, so for today we're talking about Tasmania and Queensland. Those two, that state and territory, they set the requirements based on their needs. okay, depending on what kind of workers they want, how many workers they need, you know, and they set requirements in terms of, you know, how long you need to live there before you're eligible and things like that. Okay. Each state and territory has a 190 program and a 491 program. Okay. Each state and territory has a different skills list for the 190 and the 491 visa. Okay, so so you got 6 states and 2 territories, different lists for each visa. So you've got about 16 different lists. Okay, and then most states and territories have different streams within their 190 and 491 programs. So for example, Tasmania, we're talking about today, their 491 program actually has 6 different streams, and each of those streams have different requirements. Okay, so what that means is that if you're considering a regional visa and you're trying to choose the best one, it's very complicated because there's so many different lists, there's so many different requirements that you need to be very careful in choosing the best fit for you. Okay. So that's the points table. This is the old points table. Okay, it's missing a few updated things. Okay, so you can see, you know, you get different points for your age and your English level. Okay, I won't go into detail, but the new list is the same, except you can get 15 points for being nominated under the 491 visa, and there's different point systems for your partner skills or for being single. Okay, so onto the Tasmania. Okay, so we'll start with the 190 visa. Okay, it's permanent visa, so it's cost effective. That's the benefit. Okay, in Tasmania, the 190 requirements are quite straightforward compared to other states, so it's easy to understand. The graduate stream, so if you study in Tasmania and apply under the study stream, you don't need a job offer. Okay, so you don't need to find work, which is good. Okay, if you study in a trades qualification, such as mechanic or even chef, okay, you don't need a diploma. Okay, certificate is okay, which is good. Okay, and there is a work stream available for those who haven't studied in Tas. So, you know, if you just got your 485 visa and, you know, you're not confident in, you know, getting a 190 in Sydney, you know, you might go to Tasmania and you've got 2 years to work and to get a strong application in Tasmania. Okay, some things you need to consider is that meeting the minimum requirements does not guarantee nomination. Okay, that just makes you eligible. Okay, once you're eligible, all the people that apply, they get assessed competitively, and Tasmania choose, you know, the stronger ones, or the ones they think meet their yeah, just the stronger ones. Okay, so they will consider a range of factors. So not only just meeting the bare minimum requirements, they look at other things. It's quite wide and quite flexible. Okay, so they might look at you know, they might look at your partner. You know, what's your partner's skills? What's your partner's English like? Okay, you know, do you have children studying it? Things like that, that they will consider, and they actually make it really clear in their website. It's like, we look at everything. Okay, so that's something to watch out for in Tasmania. Okay, so in the requirements, okay, so the general requirements, okay, which apply to all the different streams. So you got to be below 40. You need 65 points. You need competent English, which is 6 IELTS or 50 PTE. You need to nominate an occupation on the Tasmanian skills list. Okay, so Tasmania has their own list. Okay, it's quite large, it's about 15 pages. Okay, you need a skills assessment in that occupation, and you need to show a strong commitment to Tasmania, which usually means staying there for a longer period of time and studying and working there and stuff. Okay, and and then you need to choose a stream. Now there's two streams, and the graduate stream is you need to live there for 2 years, and you need to study there for 1 year. Okay, so I think that's a change actually. So you can live there for 2 years, and you only need to study for 1 year. Okay, which gives you a bit of flexibility. Let's say if you've come here on your 485 visa and you've worked for a bit, and then you want to study for only 1 year, you can do that. But generally, most people would just come there and study for 2 years, thereby meeting both requirements. Okay. Like I said, you don't need any experience or a job offer, but keep in mind it is preferable, because Tasmania will look at everything. So if you apply for nomination, you know, and you've got a job in your occupation, something in demand in Tasmania, it's going to be better. Okay, and also keep in mind your skills assessment might need work experience as well. Okay, so the second stream is the work stream. Okay, you need 6 months experience in Tasmania in your occupation. Okay, which is something on the Tasmanian skills. Okay, so if your skills assessment, let's say it's in a nurse, as a nurse. Okay, nurse is on the Tasmanian skills list. Okay, then you need work experience as a nurse in Tasmania. Okay, 6 months, must be full time. Okay, so you can't do 20 hours per week and on your student visa and meet that requirement. It must be full time. Okay, but you don't need a future position. Okay, so once a lot of states they say, okay, you need 6 months, but you also need to give me a contract to show that you will work for the next 12 months. So you don't need that. Okay, so a little bit easier. Okay, and that 6 month requirement must be immediately done prior to applying for nomination. So at the time you apply for nomination, you need 6 months work experience in the last 6 months. Okay, so if you take some leave in between there, or if you change jobs, just be careful. Okay, I think maternity leave would be okay, but other types of leave, just be careful. Okay, there's also a requirement that they actually look at the business. So they want the business to be well established, trading for at least 12 months. Okay, so it can't just be like a new business that your friend set up to help you, get PR. Okay, it needs to be like a genuine business. Okay, and they put a requirement called genuine position, and they consider things like, that's a very sort of wide requirement. They can ask things like, did that business really need you? Did they try employing Australians first? Things like that. So for this skilled visa, your employer might actually need to help you with this application, which is not many states do that. Okay, so moving on to the 491 visa. Okay, this is a temporary visa, which is granted for 5 years with full work rights, no study conditions. You get Medicare and free schooling for children. Okay, after you show a salary of $54,000 per year for 3 years, then you can apply for PR. Okay, so you could possibly get it in 3 years, but if you miss 1 year, you've got another 2 years to meet that requirement. Okay, and you can live anywhere in Tasmania, including Hobart. So you can live in the capital city, which makes it easier to find work. There's more companies and people there. Okay, which is different to some areas like Queensland that we're going to be talking about today. A good thing about Tasmania is that there's lots of different streams available. Okay, so if you might not be strong in one area, there's lots of different options for you. You could even open up a business and sponsor yourself in Tasmania. Okay, which is something I really like about Tasmania. Okay, the graduate stream only requires 1 year study and 1 year living in Tasmania, which is more generous than a lot of the other states, which require 2 years. And another thing is that the work stream allows you to work in different occupations. Okay, so you might have, you know, all your skills and qualifications in something like accountant. Okay, but you can actually work in Tasmania as a cook or a chef and be eligible for nomination like that. Okay, and that also applies to the study stream. So you can actually, like, if let's say all your qualifications are in accounting, you can study like a management course or something, and you can still be eligible under that stream. Okay, so very flexible. Like the 190, you know, just meeting the requirements does not guarantee nomination. Okay, I think that's even more so for the 491 visa. Okay, because they've really relaxed the requirements. And at the same time, Tasmania, there's a commitment issue, because some people do tend to try just get the visa and then they leave. Okay, so that is probably even more of an issue in Tasmania. So once you meet the requirements, you need to be prepared to stay a bit longer than that. You know, work longer, study longer, to give yourself a competitive nomination. Okay. Okay, so the requirements, okay, so 45, 65 points, competent English. Okay, with your occupation, you can choose anything on the Department of Home Affairs list. Okay, so you're not using the Tasmanian list, you're using immigration list, which is a lot bigger. It's over 500, over 400 occupations. Okay, it's pretty much the biggest list you can get. But if you can do something on the Tasmanian list, that's preferable, because they are more in demand in Tasmania. Okay, you need your skills assessment and you need to show your strong commitment. Okay, so those are the requirements that apply to all the streams. And then once you get into the streams, so the first one is the graduate stream, 1 year study, 40 academic weeks of study, face-to-face and living in Tasmania. Okay, I think they put that there recently because everybody's been trying to study online from Sydney and all that. They can't travel because of the travel restrictions. Okay, so if I actually asked them about this. So if you're in Sydney, you can't study online at a Tasmanian school. But if you're already in Tasmania and you've started your course, and then they change it to online for safety reasons, they'll say that counts. Okay, yeah, because you need to be living in Tasmania during your studies. Okay, same rule about the certificate. If it's a trade, you can do a certificate only. You can do diploma. If you're doing postgraduate studies, it cannot be a graduate certificate or a graduate diploma. It must be a master's. Okay, and if you study in a different field from your skills assessment and your occupation, then you need to submit a career plan. Okay, so with the example I gave, if you got your skills assessment in accounting and you choose accounting, but you've got you study, let's say, a management course, which is quite popular. Okay, you need to prepare a career plan, explain how you're going to find work in Tasmania. Okay, the second stream is the working in Tasmania stream. Okay, so what they want 6 months work immediately prior to lodging the nomination. It must be full-time. So again, if you're on a student visa, you can't meet this requirement. Okay, yeah, only if you're on a 485 or even a 402 visa. Okay, just like the 190, it needs to be established business 12 months, and they will assess genuine need as well. Okay, so in that sense, it's similar to the 190 stream. Okay, category 3A and 3B is for overseas applicants. We're not going to go through that today because I believe everybody here is in Australia, and one of these streams got closed anyway due to COVID. so we won't talk about that. Okay, the next category 4 is having family in Tasmania. Okay, so you need a close relative in Tasmania, and close relative includes parent, child, sibling, so brother and sister, auntie, uncle, and grandparent. Okay, so they've got auntie, uncle, grandparent, so it's a bit distant. Okay, but there's no nieces and nephews, and there's no cousins. Okay, in terms of like a like brothers-in-law, brother-in-law, and stuff like that. That doesn't count. Okay, step-brother is okay. Step-sibling, step-parent, step-child. Okay, half-brother is okay, but not like brother, not like sister-in-law. Okay, that relative must be an Australian citizen or a permanent resident and living in Tasmania for at least 12 months. And they must agree to support you in finding work, which is basically signing a form. And they should actually help you settle in Tasmania. And that's it. That's the only requirement. So if you can meet these main requirements plus the family in Tasmania, you've met the eligibility requirements for that. Okay, and then they'll start looking at your commitment and how long you've been there and all that stuff. Okay, and the last stream is the small business owner stream, okay, where you can actually set up your own business, okay, work in your own business, and very much like sponsor yourself, do a skill visit. We discussed this separately a few months ago, and I think we've recorded it, so if you want to watch that, please contact Erin. And that's Tasmania.
Contact AGS now for free education, migration consultancy, and let us help you plan your future. Suite 1, 353 Chapel Road, Bankstown, 02 8102